Welcome to the, there we go, 174th episode of Guerrilla Radio. We're going a little early today. We actually see some sunlight behind you. I didn't even know there was a window there, or a door.
Yep.
So,
my back patio.
Yeah, we are going to talk about Newcastle, and then we'll take a small break, and actually kind of have two shows. That way it's easier to split up on the podcast. So we're going to talk about Newcastle, then we're going to talk about East Chicago, probably in 2 hours-ish. That's what we've been averaging per. But we don't have the third wheel today, so it's just Mike and I. Long time no see.
I know, man. We're cracking them out. This is pretty awesome. Eric Spikes, what's going on, man? Eric's in there. Bought a Super Bowl square from me. Picked the numbers. I hope Eric got the winner, man.
Yeah, you're gonna have some pretty big competition to the Super Bowl this year with the or at least the pregame show with the bracket reveal at 4. It's at 4 p.m., 3 p.m. Central. So just as a reminder,
bracket reveal. I'll be right at practice watching Joe.
Yes, yeah. We'll know a little bit of what's going on and stuff, and I'm excited to be a part of that again. So. So what you did look up? What is the biggest? We're gonna have to figure out what the biggest festivals everywhere are now.
It's the Farmers Pike Festival of Newcastle, Indiana.
Okay, that sounds
acres of treasure, my friend.
So what's I don't want to lead you on too much, but is there anything exciting in East Chicago? What festivals there?
They got the Puerto Rican Fest. They got a bunch of stuff, man. It's pretty good. Been to Puerto Rican Fest a couple times. Puerto Rican Day, not around that time. They do a good job. Actually, East Chicago has a lot of. It's pretty culturally diverse, so they have a lot of different festivals.
Yes.
A lot of good food, man.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure. I don't want to go. I don't want to spoil the surprise. I can give some shout outs to some East Chicago. I'm a little bit more familiar with the East Chicago area and where to go eat over there. But it's pretty much a melting pot. You can get anything you want.
Yes, yeah. I do agree with that. When we go visit family, it's good food. It's not chain restaurants. That's the best thing about it.
Oh yeah. So some of those places only take cash, man. So make sure you bring cash only.
Yes. That's good. That means it's good food.
Oh yeah.
Authentic. So.
But we'll save that one for later. We're at Newcastle. Howie did a pretty good job ranking this year. I think just kind of looking over the brackets, so they look pretty. A lot of numbers by some people. So dig in, man. I'm excited.
Yep. So here we go. 106. Sully Frazier, Zionsville, Keegan Dressler.
That's 13, right?
Oh, shoot. Yes, it is.
Got you, man. Got it. Here.
Man, I couldn't do this by myself. There we go. John Bismeyer, Cathedral, number 15 in the state. Chris Arnold, North Central. Braxton Aragon from Lebanon. And Briggs Tackett from Rushville. So, Bismeyer, he was a qualifier, right, last year?
I think was he? I thought he was a ticket rounder.
He might have been a ticket rounder. I do have the right. No, he was only a ticket rounder. He didn't qualify. So the only one it's been to state is Heather Crawl in this bracket. So a lot of new faces at state here.
Undefeated Heather Crawl.
Yes, undefeated Heather Crawl. So
Bismeyer ranked 15. I know we kind of talked a little bit with Cameron. 10 losses, it's kind of like a surprising thing, but he's wrestled basically a who's who of the top guys. But Cathedral wrestles a really good schedule. I didn't see where they fell in the schedule rankings when they were doing the power strength schedule, but I know he has a ton of notable wins. Losses to Mason Jones twice, Talon Jessup, Justice Thrasher twice, Mason Goals twice, and Eli Olgi. With a bunch of wins. He also has a win over Justice Thrasher, has a win over Alonzo Chantilly. Really, really tough. I think what was the thing you were asking, Cameron, that Derek and McGinley are almost tied for medalist?
Yeah, McGinley. Let me pull that up. McGinley's really close to hitting 100 medalists, which is
100. Yeah.
100 state medalists.
100 state medalists.
Yeah. Let me see. I know I have that. Oh, shoot. Wrong thing. I know I have it here. There's a little website for that. Coaches state qualifiers. McGinley's going to be that's not showing up on this. There it is. Just give you he has 97 right now, so he's looking at Coach Mike Gable, who wasn't too bad himself. He finished his career with 97, so he didn't even get to 100. That's how. And he will be only the third one with over 100 state medalists. The first one is Harold Mumby at 162, and Clifford Myers at 104.
And those are guys that are coaching a while back in the Wildback machine. Right?
Yes. That was, let's see, Myers and Mumby were, when were their last year's coaching? 1963 for Myers and 1945 for Mumby. So it's been a minute.
Right when I was being born.
Yeah, yes. And, Coach Gable is there. Snyder's at 87. So I'm gonna go on a limb and say he's probably not gonna get it this year, but will be very close next year. I mean, I can see. I mean, he's gonna need 13, so he's gonna need 6 and 3, or 6 and 7, which is pretty tough. But that's not out of the realm with the team that they have this year and coming in next year. So Coach Tante has 71. BJ Ferrote has 67. Greg Schaefer has 61. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I think we talked about it last night. They have a really young team. I think they're going to keep going, getting better.
Yeah, in only 16 years, which that's really impressive. In 16 years, he's at 61 state. And unfortunately, he's kind of overshadowed right now by the other coaches. But, man, that's pretty impressive. Some other ones, Ed Pendowski at 42, Brad Harper 33, Al Smith 41. So there's a nice little website for that. If you go to Coaching State history homepage history,
it's too early to be playing there's a website for that drinking game right now.
Yeah. So that's something to kind of look forward to. Only the third one all time, which is pretty impressive, and that tells you longevity. And obviously he's pretty darn good at coaching because his Friday night win percentage is just ridiculous.
Yeah, they do a good job, man. You think it's because they get to sleep in their own beds?
I don't know. I mean, I guess we can put that to test a little bit this year because they'll be sleeping in a hotel.
That's it. So that's the theory, man. Let's go.
Yeah.
Bismeyer, I think, comes out of this quarter bracket. Briggs Tackett of Rushville, a real solid freshman. I know he was third ISWA kid. Braxton Argon, real high seed. I think he had a really good Mooresville. I know he was seeded really high. It was kind of the guy they had him ahead of Malone, so that was kind of the one that was some controversy. But he's pretty tough also. But I think Bismeyer gets through there.
Yeah. Next quarter bracket, Peyton Shutley, 1 loss. That is to Isaac Campbell, 3-2. Cody Prater, Noblesville. Bryce Bruns from Franklin County, and Carlo Federici from Carmel. Solid freshman there.
Peyton Shelley's really good. I think he was a little undersized last year, probably more in the weight this year. Having a real solid year. Obviously, Campbell's out of the state tournament now. Carlos Federici's had some nice wins. I know he spent some time right on the backside of the rankings, and then when we started doing the top 25, I believe he was like 26 or 27. But that's had really good luck with a lot of the smaller guys, a lot of smaller weights. I'm sure he'll have him ready, but I think Shutley pulls out there also. And then get a little Ron Colley versus Cathedral semi possibly.
Yes, a little bit of who's God going to choose there? Look, the private.
God chooses us all, Joe. Man, someone came. I thought I was getting some religion talk a little bit ago. Someone came to my house, banged on the door extra hard. I didn't know what was going on, and it was someone running. Like they were trying to get me to run for. I guess they were trying to get me to vote for someone running for governor.
Oh, jeez, nice.
And I was like, "Are we voting for the governor already?"
So,
But isn't what you call running for governor? I didn't want to tell him.
I believe she McCormick's wife.
Yeah.
I believe
Jennifer
she's
McCormick running for governor, right?
supposed to be. I don't know. I haven't paid that much attention to it, so that's the word on the street. So I guess keep an eye on that. Someone could have someone with some wrestling. Has a wrestling husband. So
I always vote for the wrestling community, so that's who I'm going with. Jennifer McCormick.
Yes,
former,
Jennifer McCormick. There it is.
Yeah, she was the former head of education, right?
Yes, she was like the superintendent of education. Very good, did a really good job there, and been through the from being a teacher all the way up to superintendent and stuff. So,
man. But did they banged on my door? I thought it was like the police, man. I didn't know what was going on.
They really want that vote.
For real.
Sparky says we're staying on topic more. Yeah, right.
It took a right-hand turn real quick.
Yes. So, bottom half of the bracket. It took us half a bracket to get off topic. That's good. That's a good sign. Luckily, we started early.
Start, guys.
Keegan Carson, Westfield, Caden Beagle from Greensburg, Kendall Moe, number 4 in the semi-state, the only one with a number, Hamilton Heights, and Caleb Morrow from Indianapolis Lutheran. So a pretty wide open quarter bracket, and Kendall Moe looks like she might be able to punch her ticket to state.
Yeah, I know she was in the rankings a little bit also. That'd be pretty awesome. I think there's some spots where we can get some female competitors at state, which just increases the chances of getting a medalist at state that's a female. And I really do think that they're going to sanction this year or this coming up year. But Keegan Carson, pretty solid. I think he's gotten better as the year went on. I know I think he was injured at Al Smith in the round before the blood round, I believe. But pretty solid results there. I know he lost to Cole Carper, but he won the regional. That's a really good regional. That North Montgomery regional is pretty solid.
Mm-hmm. He put himself in a good spot. I mean,
yeah, really good spot.
I'd say that's a pretty wide open. Most tough, but I think those other guys are gonna be all pusher and should be a real good quarter bracket.
Yeah, then Indianapolis Lutheran. I mean, there's a lot of intrigue in there. I mean, Greensburg hasn't had a qualifier for a while, right?
Yeah.
Indianapolis is a pretty smaller school. Like he has a shot. I think that's when you only have like one ranked person in there, and like I said, Howie does a great job. The favorite would be Mo, but I think that's a pretty wide open quarter bracket.
Yeah. Last quarter bracket, Heather Krull, 48-0, having a real good junior year. Tega Koyangi from Crawfordsville, Colin Clark, Perry Meridian, and Zane Emberton, Tipton. So Clark's ranked 5th in the semi-state. Krull is 3, so that should be a pretty good one. Obviously, a pretty big drop off from 3 to 5 since one's ranked 10th, and Clark is. I know he was in and out of the rankings, so he's probably right around the 25 to 30 or 26 to 30 area.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely sets up some intrigue. Heather Krull's been wrestling really well. We don't get a ton of Northeastern results turned into us, if you guys believe that. But 48 wins, it's pretty impressive. What is she, a 2-time state qualifier?
1 time. She lost last year
in
the first round.
Yeah, to Bayless.
To Bismeyer, I believe. I think.
Okay. But Krull's put herself in a good spot. I mean, wouldn't it be kind of interesting if you had both of the females on the other side in the semis together? I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'll be really interesting to see. I definitely will be keeping an eye on this weight class, and should be some real good matches there. I mean, Krull's pretty tough. She got a world medal this summer, so she's obviously, very much deserving of where she is right there in that bracket.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow. Sully, 113. What?
What did you say? Oh wow for?
I got a text about a middle school result that was a little bit surprising, but
okay,
not surprising. I'll tell you about it later. Just yeah. Anyway, Sully Frazier, Zionsville, Keegan Dressler of Southport, Isaiah Gardner from Troy, and Cooper Doucette from Hamilton Heights. So you got two guys, one and four. Actually, the four is the only one state ranked, and the one is also a semi-state ranked. So that should be an interesting quarter bracket.
Yeah, Keegan Dressler having a really good year for Southport. Coming out of a really tough regional. I'm not as familiar with the regionals out there, but I think that like Warren Central, was it Warren Central Regional?
Perry Regional.
Yeah, Perry Regional is pretty good. That'll be a good one right off the bat. Sully Frazier, Keegan Dressler. I'm sure as a four, that's probably not where you're trying to see, but it looks like the top four, all four champs are pretty good. But that'll be a good one right out the gate. We did not get to see Sully Frazier at the Al Smith. I believe both Fraziers were out.
Yes. Yeah. So, man, I should not have released that graphic because I'm getting messages. Go check out the one about who should do the zip line in Evansville.
Oh, you just did it?
Yeah. There's auto on there, so now I'm getting all the notifications. So I'll be a little distracted. See who I got a lot of banning to do, I think. Going down the next quarter bracket, Blake Getz, Ron Colley, Tyler Jackson, Hamilton Southeastern, Tyler Huffman, Alexandria Monroe, and Matt Baylor, turning state placer. That's going to be a real good quarter bracket right there.
Yeah, Getz having a really solid year, 34-3. Who is his three losses to? We have it in the state rankings. I believe at least one was at so Gavin Ash, Cameron Meyer, and Caleb Schaefer. And then Baylor took his first loss at the regional, the Volts. So that'll be a tough ticket round match there.
Yeah, that should be.
I think Milan's has a really they're really high in the 1A rankings for the team state.
Yeah, I think they were real close. They were in on the voting, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. I think they were the first team out. They were really close. I know they had wrestled in Ohio like that the Saturday before the team vote, and they had wrestled really well. And I think who was out there someone was out there with them. And they were really impressed with them.
Jake, I think they wrestled tournament with Jake County in there.
Yeah, maybe it was Meyer was saying that they were really good.
Yeah. So Brady Volts, Eastern Hancock had a big win over. Obviously had that big win over Baylor last week. That put him. I guess I don't know if that's putting him in a better spot or not. He'll have Nigel Dix of Brebeuf Jesuit, Will Huraski, and then Rai Lian of Perry Meridian defending. I guess he's at 106, but he's a returning semi-state champ from last year. So Volts has a good win, beats a state placer, and now he has a returning semi-state champ in the ticket round.
Yeah, Leon did not medal last year. Baylor did, and Leon won the semi-state. That's a tough spot. I know Will Horoski from Fisher's pretty tough too. He was in a lot of the results, like for notable wins. So I think that'll be a good first round match. It seems like Leon's starting to like put it together at the right time. He's wrestling really well. Wrestling better. I think early on he took some losses that were a little bit surprising. I think he's wrestling better now.
Yeah. Perry's gonna have their guys peaking at the right time and have a lot of. They're gonna be wrestling. It should be a real good quarter bracket. I think Volts is kind of a surprise. I do not know who his only losses to, but I'm sure someone could tell us.
So, I think there was a really nice article on the older Volts, right? He was saying like how his brother's wrestling.
Yeah,
which was really cool.
So last quarter bracket got a lot of heat here. Nathan Reyes from Cathedral, Carson Bell, Newcastle. Number 9, Connor Bayless of Mount Vernon, Fortville, and then Tamir Halabai from Carmel. So that should be a really good quarter bracket.
Yeah, a couple guys with state experience, right? Three of those guys have been to state before.
Reyes has not.
Then that first round match, Halevi was a qualifier 2 years ago, correct?
Yep. Yeah, he was a qualifier at 106. Yeah, and then Reyes has not qualified yet, per my website. So, but Bayless was a qualifier last year too. So
that'd be a good match. Bayless really tough. Got to see him at Al Smith also. I thought he wrestled really well there. He was third. I know he took a loss to Brady Harper in a pretty good match. He beat Reyes there 7-5 OT in the third and fourth place match. That'll be an interesting tick around if that's that. And like I said, like Ed does a good job with the smaller weights. I think Halevi will be in the mix.
Yeah, Halevi has lost to Getz, Dressler, and Frazier. So, and a couple other ones that we don't have. But yeah, he's pretty tough there. So 120, we have Ezra Fye of Alexandria Monroe, Aiden Smalley of Hamilton Southeastern, Adam Brewer Batesville, and Richard Rogers from Franklin Central. I know you've been pretty impressed with Rogers, and I know he's had a lot of good wins this year. He's got a lot of significant matches, which is good to see.
Yeah, Franklin Central usually does really good with the upper weights, right? They usually got a couple really good guys. Rogers is wrestling well, having a really good sophomore year. Ezra Fry was a guy I thought me and Howie kind of disagreed on. I know he was not in at one point he was in the state rankings, but not in the semi-state rankings. I know he had a win over Cade Jackson, I believe. So Cade Jackson was the number one ranked guy at Fort Wayne, and Fry had a win over him. So it got him into the state rankings, and he wasn't even the semi-state rankings at that point. But Richard Rogers, yeah, you're right. I've been impressed with Richard Rogers for 2 years. So I think that'll be an interesting tick-around match if that comes there. But I feel like Hamilton Southeastern always brings in guys. They're right at like 500, and they make a run.
Yeah.
Like, they're very dangerous. And I know talking with those guys, they said, like, people are not, like, sleeping on them as much as they used to, and those guys are coming in with 7-8 losses, and they're getting those big wins at semi-state.
Good choice, Joey. That's Joey Butler that said that Triple B needs to do the zip line. we'll keep a tally right now. Chase, next quarter bracket, Chase Yant from Fishers having a real good junior year. Jackson Richardson Anderson, RJ Taylor, defending semi-state champ right there, and Jackson Carr. So that'll be a real good tick-around match right there.
Yeah, possibly like coming out. Chance Yant spent a lot of time at 26. I think his 3 losses were at 26 also. Yeah. He and I think there was at one point I was like, hey, like I kind of messaged your coach like he's coming down, right? Like you guys have wrestled a lot at 26. He lost to Haynes 10-4, Guillermo Rivera 12-4, and Gunnar Butt 6-3. So still undefeated currently at 120. RJ Taylor, real dangerous. I think that he's a guy that can wrestle with anybody in the state. I think at that point when you step on the mat like Perry Meridian guy, you kind of throw the records out the window, and those guys can, beat you in a lot of different positions.
Yeah, and Taylor will be ready to wrestle. That should be a good quarterfinal there, or a tick-around match there. Going down, you got number 8 and 9, Cole Freeze from Franklin County, Jack Richardson, Roncalli, Caden Rogers, Cathedral, and Tommy Frazier from Zionsville. So 3 ranked guys there. And you got Caden Rogers, who his brother made a run to the semifinals his freshman year. So might want to, can't count out a Cathedral kid ever.
Yeah. And I know trying to talk with those guys, like he started off wrestling some absolute, like, I think his like first 6 losses were just like hammers. And it's like, hey, like, you're doing good. Like you're just wrestling one of the toughest stretches of the season. Yeah. Frazier, the returning state qualifier, like we said, like 21-4. We didn't get to see Tommy Frazier at Al Smith. Cole Freeze, Jack Richardson. I know there's a lot of people that are real high on Jack Richardson, Ron Colley, freshman. He's had really good results. I know that's an 8-9 right off the bat. So the 4 is 8. The 4th place finisher is the 8, and Cole Freeze is the 9 in the East Castle Semi-State.
Yeah. And then last quarter bracket, Jet McGuire, Greenfield Central, number 14 in the state. Lucas Richards, Milan. Porter Temples, another returning state qualifier, number 16. And Caden Simpson from Elwood. So you got 2. Greenfield Central not getting a good draw there, but that should be a real good match. I am trying to see if they've wrestled yet.
Oh, I think they have, right? I mean, it looks like Jet McGuire's wrestled everybody. Tech Ezra Fry. BK Jackson, Kissinger, BK Jackson again, Byerly, Jack Richardson, Deacon Rogers, Blake Byerly, Braden Volts. That's Volts' only loss.
Yeah.
Dylan Wills, Richard Rogers, and Ryan Taylor. Those are all wins. Jeff McGuire having a much better postseason than he did last year. I believe he missed weight in the postseason at one point, and they were like, he's not going to cut weight anymore. We'll probably do hour and a half on this, 2 hours, and take a break and come back. Brandon, Jets wrestling really well. I think Coach Holden's got him fired, and that'll be a good take-around match with Porter Temples.
Yeah, the only person in the state that McGuire has not wrestled is Temples.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it is. So, going down 126, Eli Brody, number 2 in the semi-state, returning state qualifier. Josh Kazulik from Noblesville, Aiden Rangel from North Vermilion, and Zane Bagley from Eastern Hancock.
Zane Bagley's a guy I really like too. I think that he had a lot of good summer results. I know he's had some good wins, 39-5. I know Aiden Rangel took his first loss at the regional, 35-1. I know North Vermilion had a couple guys that had single-digit losses at the regional. But Eli Brody's really good. We've seen him at Al Smith. I think with all 3 of his losses at the Al Smith.
Let's see where they are. No. He lost to Hawkins and Brown, then lost to Neil Mosier at their conference.
Yeah, pretty good. 3-1 Don Brown. I know him and Don Brown have kind of gone back and forth. Dom, I think, beat him a couple times last year. Then Brody beat him, I believe, at IPO or something preseason right before the season that got him in the rankings pretty high. And then Don Brown beat him at Al Smith.
Yeah, so that should be a good one. Quarter bracket there. Going down, Gavin Bragg, number 1 in the semi-state, returning state qualifier. Jordan Franklin from North Central, Connor Frazier from Centerville, and Carter Nickham from Westfield.
Gavin Bragg, returning state qualifier. He was an Al Smith finalist too. That'd be an interesting match. Jordan Franklin of North Central, I think, is a pretty solid sophomore. But Bragg with the state experience, I think, also I think not only does McGinley do pretty well Friday night, I think he does pretty well the Saturday before state also. Connor Frazier and Carter Nickham, that'll be a good match. Westfield looked like they had a pretty good day last Saturday.
Yeah, they did. They qualified quite a few guys. Going down, last half bracket, Colin Troyer, Franklin Central, Quinn Stoffacher from Zionsville, Max Bowers from Pendleton Heights, and then returning state placer Gunnar Butt from New Pal.
I feel like Colin Troyer of Franklin County has been in high school forever. He's only a junior, so he'll be in high school for at least another year. But I feel like he's been on the watch list forever. Regional champ. That first round match between Max Byer and Gunnar Butt would be really good. Byer's real solid. Looked like he had a really good North Montgomery Super Duel. But Butt coming back with a medal. I think I got Butt coming out of that quarterfinal.
Yeah, Butt tech falled him earlier in the year, so that's a good. That would have been at their their conference. So
listen, this last quarter bracket is pretty solid.
Yeah, yes it is. Nick Anderson, Hamilton Southeastern, Liam Hubbard from South Dearborn, Sean Tankersley from Lawrence North, and then Peter Wynn from Guerin Catholic, who's been to state twice, still looking to be their first medalist, and he's got a tough road here. That should be a really good quarter bracket.
Yeah, he's going to have a tough one right off the bat with Sean Tankersley. Sean Tankersley had a real nice win over Aiden Campbell early on. That kind of got him into the rankings. Peter Wynn, real solid wrestler. It'd be nice to see a school get their first medalist. I think that'd be really cool. But that's going to be tough. And Nick Anderson's really good for Hamilton Southeastern. He's wrestling really well this season, 24-5 in his junior year. Hamilton, like I said, Hamilton Southeastern always really tough. I think they kind of get overlooked in that area, and then they come to semi-state, and then you're like, oh, they're really good.
Yeah. So 132. Let me change my ranking so I can keep an eye open here. This should be another great weight class. Got good top quarter bracket. Caleb Mattingly, Carmel, number 22 in the state. Number 10 in the semi-state, Alex Platico. I can't pronounce names. Brogan Ruhlman, not related to the Bloomington South Ruhlman. And then Isaac Kuhn from Hamilton Heights. So you got 19 and 22 potentially in the ticket round.
Man, you're gonna have a matchup of Iron Bear trained versus Ed Pendosky trained.
Ooh,
that's gonna be a nice little rivalry. Right off the bat, that Alex Patico and Caleb Mattingly will be a good match. I don't know if they wrestled. I feel like Carmel and Ron Kelly wrestle.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain they. Yeah, Mattingly won 6-2.
Yeah, I think I remembered that. So, of course they're not the same Romans. That's not even spelled the same. Yeah, Kuhn had a really solid year last year too. I think they're pretty good there, Hamilton. So that'll be a good matchup on the ticket round.
Yeah, that should be a real good one there. Going down, you got this is another pretty big quarterfinal quarter bracket. Cole Vandegrift from New Pal, Jalen England from Zionsville, Lorenzo Moreno from Anderson, and Cameron Bowles from Eastern Hancock. And if you did download brackets before, had someone else in that instead of England for Zionsville, but there was a disqualification, so England got pulled back in.
Oh, congratulations to England, man. You see me post that today about I don't like how our alternate for the semi-state goes. I think we have to find a better system. Generally, the guy that wins the regional is probably going to wrestle a 4 the first round of regional from another sectional. In some sectionals, you're not even having to win a match.
Yeah.
You might just be the 4 on forfeits, and then you go there. Let's say you wrestle 30 seconds, and then you turn around, and the guy gets pulled out, and then you get pulled in. Yeah. I don't know, and I'm not saying this about England. It's just the rant I'm getting on right now.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's great. But I think we have to find a better system for an alternate at the semi-state level.
Yeah. Well, because a 2 and 3 or two 2s or 2 3s, whatever, some combination of that is going home, and that 3 that went home might have beat that guy, and now
heaven forbid you had a 4-over-1 upset, so you have a sectional champ going home, and then the 4 takes 4 at the regional, and then you're well, we got maybe one of the best guys here because we have a single elimination first round. I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like it's not that much longer. We did it 1 year.
Yeah. No, I think they should have wrestlebacks at the regional level. That would not take. It's an 8-man bracket. It's not that long of a day. I mean, I was home by 2:30.
Or worst case, if you know someone's out, that's a DQ. Have those 4 guys go wrestle on a Wednesday night.
Yeah. Have a wrestle in.
Have them wrestling on a Wednesday night. Missing weight is different. I don't know how many guys, how many coaches when you guys were coaching, when you had the alternate, did you make them make weight? Just in case it show up?
Not really. Only if we had an inclination that there might be something going on. I guess, and only if we knew something was going on, I guess, if there was a possibility of them being pulled back in. I remember one time, and this was a Leo kid, and I think he was a lighter weight, whatever, but he was there, he was on weight, and his coach had him on weight, whatever, and someone missed weight or didn't show up, whatever, and they didn't call him until they'd already called. Let's just say he's a 120 pounder, whatever. So after I think they might have had a 26 pounder or something. They knew it sounded like weigh-ins were closed for that weight class. All of a sudden, so his coach, the kid's like, "Can I eat now?" He's like, "Yeah." So then then they called, "Hey, if there's an alternate from the Carroll Regional at 120, and that is you got to be kidding me." And
I'd be so mad.
Yeah, it was you got to be. They didn't call it right away, and so they didn't make any announcements or anything. So I
think that's the misconception of cutting weight. People are always "Oh man, aren't you so hungry?" It's man, it's not the food that gets you. It's the pound and a half of liquid you're about to drink after you weigh in.
Yeah. So that sucked for that kid. You could have. I don't know. I can't remember the kid's name or who it was. I remember he's from Leo, but I was like, man, that sucks. That kid could have wrestled. I mean, he probably wasn't going to win. Let's be honest. But he was there. He was ready to wrestle. And then you guys took your time to call him. So he just thought everything was, I mean, and his coach he's like, can I eat, coach? He's like, well, they're already called in this weight, or, it was pretty much they knew that.
Popeye's chicken or what?
Yeah.
He had a whole bucket of chicken ready to roll. Stop it.
That's
his favorite, bro.
We had a kid trying to cut, or he was cutting pretty hard for a weight, and he lost to Devin Jackson in the ticket round. Devin Jackson was pretty good, and he's just like mowing down. As most kids are at that time, they're drowning their sorrows in food, and he's like, "Man, I'm not making that weight ever again." Whatever. And Fielding goes up to him and says, "Hey, you need to be close to weight." I go, "You're the alternate," and his face just got so white. He's like, "Really?" He's like,
I feel like Popeyes got more expensive as I got older. I go to Popeyes now. I feel like I'm dropping like $60. I feel like Popeyes used to be like, kind of a cheap chicken option. I don't know what happened.
I agree. Anywhere you go, I might go to Chick-fil-A. You're spending $40 for 4 people. I'm like, whoa.
Chick-fil-A, I mean, it's only been around. It's only been up here since I've been older, so I'm like cooler with that. But I definitely remember Popeyes like 2-piece and a biscuit and like a Cajun mashed potato only being like $5.
It probably was. So was KFC. We just got Popeyes around here fairly recently, so I haven't seen the influx in the prices.
enjoy that spicy chicken, man.
Yeah, I like
beans
Popeyes.
and rice. All right, back to the bracket.
Yeah.
Cameron Volz is really good. A really nice article on him. I know he's wrestled Ryan Tough the last couple of weeks. Yeah. Some really tight matches. And I don't think Ryan's gotten worse. No. So I think that just shows how good Volz is. I think his article was really cool where he's like, I don't even care who I'm wrestling. I'm just going out there and doing my thing. And I'm not worried about like the records. And like, oh, you're setting all these records at Eastern Hancock. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah. Yeah, he did beat Vandy Griff 6-5 earlier in the year, so that's it's a rematch. It's you would have hoped it would have been a tech fall or a pin in the first period, but that's going to be a good match right there.
Oh yeah, that's going to be. I think New Pal's got some really good talented younger guys. But man, I've been really impressed with Volts this year. I know someone said he's a monster in the chat. I can only see like a little bit of the chat if I have to like kind of see as it comes up, so it might be a couple rounds behind you guys here. But I know I believe he had a really good 1A 2A champ. Beat Sam Bustamante, Jalen Pugh, beat Robert Frazier, Kayameta, who's a regional champ. I really like that for guys, and then we talked about getting in the rankings. If you're at a smaller school and you want to be recognized, I definitely went through that 1A, 2A brackets and really picked that apart and really looked at that. I think it's a really cool event, and I hope it continues to grow. I think there was like some scheduling conflicts. I hope they get that ironed out with freshman and sophomore. But I think that's a cool event. He's a champ there, and I think that got him in the rankings pretty early.
Yeah, no, that's a good, any kind of off-season events like that where you can kind of connect some dots on guys of, and like you said earlier, it's like you don't have to beat those guys. Man, those twins are not on my good list today.
Which ones?
The Hagwood twins.
Bro, man, they were hot in the chat the other night too.
I know. They're savages.
Oh,
so,
man.
yeah, but like I said, you don't even have to win, but if you have a close match with someone that's pretty good, that's going to get you on the radar, and, especially at ISWA state, freshman, sophomore, 1A, 2A, IPO. There's a lot of tournaments that you kind of look at, especially for season rankings for next year, that, kind of like, we'll go over it, once freshman, sophomore goes on, we'll be sending texts like, oh man, did you see so-and-so, beat this guy and things like that. So
those are some of my favorite events, man. Middle school state for incoming guys, some of the older middle school guys that are going to be cadets, some of those older middle school guys that are first-year juniors,
Yeah.
The guys that are going to be driving to high school next year. But like when they go to ISWA, kind of seeing cadet folk style, 1A, 2A, and freshman, sophomore, and a little bit Indiana Nationals. I always love little Indy Nationals. Sometimes you get state qualifiers jump in there. Remember the one year Blake Rappel lost the state title?
Yeah.
On a caution. Next day, you're at Indy Nationals. You're probably excited to go. You haven't wrestled in a while. You're like pumped. I'm gonna go win a bracket. And then the state runner-up's there, and he's really upset that he gave away a state championship on a false start.
Yes. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
So next quarter bracket.
I'm so far behind on this. Roger's first match in high school was Laraca. I'm telling you, man, like his first 5 were like hammers. Like it was like, oh, cool. Welcome to high school wrestling.
Yeah.
We're gonna give you the accelerated course.
Yeah. He didn't sign up for the accelerated course, did he?
He's gonna be good. I wouldn't doubt if he has a freshman sophomore medal in a couple weeks.
Yeah. So going down, you got Tylen Thrine undefeated on the season and his career. Owen Reyes from Cathedral, Nolan Yarger from North Montgomery, and Josh Foxworthy from Southport.
Shout out to North Montgomery, man. I really like that school. I used to call him Northmont. Someone told me it was disrespectful to call him Northmont.
But they call it Southmont.
Yeah, I know. Hey, because they're looking down on him, man. It's on the north side. Hitco. All right, Matt Kelly, I see you. But remember when Josh Foxworthy used to do all those observations, all that observation comedy back in the day?
You mean Jeff Foxworthy?
Oh yeah, right.
That's his dad.
Is it his dad? Man, that'd be awesome. He's pretty solid. I got to see some of his results at I believe at Mooresville. He wrestled pretty tough. Southport wrestled a pretty solid schedule. I think they're doing a good job. Thrine, the most electrifying man in Indiana wrestling, right?
Yeah. Looking to take out another state champ this year.
Yeah, I think this is the time. Like, there was some consideration about him possibly 126. I don't know if that was ever even in the cards. I know that we didn't really know where he was going to be at, but everyone was kind of hoping he'd go 32, kind of set up a match with Hockaday. I think their styles are really exciting. They kind of match well together. He kind of took the state finals by storm last year. I know looking back, everyone was like, that's the guy everyone was talking about. And I think that could be another run this year. 31-0. I think he put himself in a pretty good position to possibly be in the semi-state finals again.
Yeah. So last quarter bracket, Jack Davis from Chittard, Kyle Bolzer from Franklin County, Donald Bowie from Warren Central, and Chase Kamir from Westfield. I know Bowie's had a real good year. Not ranked in the semi-state, but in the state.
Yeah, I mean, Howie doesn't always see eye to eye either.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Donald Bowie had a really good match with Sonny Sessa at Al Smith. I think he's coming along. I know those guys think he's going to be really good. I think he's going to be really good too. I think he got like a stall call late to tie it, and then kind of I don't know if he knew it was tied. He kind of dove in, and Sessa spun behind. I think it ended up being like 6-4 or something like that. A little chatter on the board about that quarter bracket, right?
Yeah.
There's a little bit back and forth. I mean, I don't know if anybody involved with Chittard. I know Chittard's doing a really good job. I know there's a lot of excitement with Chittard's team, and I know that they're doing the right stuff to try to get into team state. But they were saying Davis by fall -800, and then someone came back and said, "Oh, thanks for the bulletin board," and they're like, "All right, Davis -1,000." So they're taking odds on the board. I mean, you're pretty confident there, but I think that'd be a pretty good match. Jack Davis had a really good summer also. Yeah. I thought he wrestled LT Hawkins pretty tough at ISWA Folkstyle State. Bro, I think that was up at 38. I think Hawkins and Davis were up a weight last year at ISWA than what they're wrestling right now.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
I got Davis coming out of that quarter bracket though. Not -800 though. I'm not calling a fall. But I think Bowie. I think Bowie's going to give him a really good match.
Yeah, you can never count out a Warren Central guy in those matches because they're going to come at you. Tayon.
Well, they're a really well coached team.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the MIC champ. I want to see what that score was with Sessa. He lost to Daniel McGill. Lost to Sessa 5-3. I knew it was a 2-point match. Beat Chase Camry. What is it?
Kmeyer?
Yeah. So
going down 138, Tayon Leonard from Fishers, Brady Merck from East Central, Blake Jones from Lawrence North, and Sam Bustamante from Bishop Chatard. So kind of some pretty solid guys there. You got 4, 5, and 7 in the semi-state, so that should be a real good quarter bracket.
Yeah, Blake Jones, he had a really good win early on. Who did he beat early at 38?
Boone, or no, he beat Bowie. He beat Bowie and Vanderlugarten.
Yeah, so he's had a really solid year. Bustamante is really, really good. Like I said, another one of those Chatard guys that I think that are really build up the program. They have a good young core. That'll be a good first round match. It's 5 and 4 in the semi-state, and then Leonard, see ya. Then Leonard in the ticket round from Fisher. I know he's pretty athletic. I think he had some nice wins this year too.
Yeah, they Bustamante beat Leonard earlier this year 6-1, so that should be very interesting there.
That's what time I usually wake up for my nap.
And Blake Jones also beat Leonard 10-8. So not the draw you wanted for Leonard. You got two guys that beaten you already in that quarter bracket. So
Sam Bustamante, for his picture on the board, he's like a Superman picture,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Pretty good.
So going down, you got Gavin Whitehead, returning state 6th place finisher. Jake Saez.
Tammy's great. They said Tammy made Blake go to Indy Nationals after that caution loss.
Yeah.
Tammy's awesome.
Yeah. Tough love there. Jake Saez from Westfield, Dalen Jones from Providence, Cristo Ray, and Peyton Hornsby. Ooh. 2 and 3 in that's spicy.
Yeah, that's a good one. There's a couple of good storylines in this too. Let's dig into this here.
Yeah.
Gavin Whitehead, pretty good returning state medalist. Jake Saez had a nice Al Smith also. That'd be a solid one, but Gavin Whitehead 31-0. Dylan Jones was not very happy about his semi-state ranking, I believe, early on, and was kind of taking shots at Peyton Hornsby's ranking because I think he was ranked pretty high. And I think there was some comments on social media about how do you rank an incoming freshman higher than a returning semi-state guy. So now they get to – what they always say, man, when people get upset about the rankings, at some point you're going to have to, fix them yourself. So That could be a pretty good match. I think Hornsby's wrestled Whitehead twice this year. I know once at the Spartan Classic and some I think they seeded – I didn't know they seeded it this year. I was like, oh, man, they got the random draw. That sucks. But then they said they were seeded that way. I think that was in the semis. I believe it was a pretty good match.
14-13.
14-13, so they're not afraid to put up points. He also beat him 4-3. So I think that could be a really good ticket round match. But I thought Hornsby was dealing with some injuries. I think he defaulted at sectionals to Kyrell, correct?
Yeah, he defaulted at sectional and came back and wrestled last week, it appears. He didn't wrestle too long against Lavelle. Lavelle's pretty darn good. And he's a senior, so he's got 3 state medals.
So Hornsby's really tough. Whitehead's really tough. That'd be a good one. Hornsby, I don't think he was in the preseason rankings. I actually sent his dad. I actually sent his dad an apology because I thought he was still in middle school. Someone told me he was a 7th grader.
Nice.
I think he jumped a grade, actually. Most guys are being held back a grade. I think he said, I'm going to skip 8th grade.
Yeah. Said, I want to get this schooling stuff done. Yeah. Now that's always the fun part of preseason rankings. You're not, if kids are being held back, or even if they aren't, it was we didn't think he was especially because I think he was a Triple Crown. Was he a Triple Crown for 14U, which a little more than half, I'd say, guys that are 14U as 8th grader or 14U their second year is their 7th graders. So
I think Swarthwood too was a schoolboy too, right? He was also a non first year junior.
Yes, non-first. Yeah, he wasn't even. Yeah, so that'll be interesting. So yeah, he'll turn. Yeah, I assume Brittany Hornsby knows him fairly well. Said he's still 14 and he'll turn 15 sometime this year, but I don't know when. See,
I don't think that. I mean, I know some people. I've talked to some people about that, and they say recruiting and this and that. And I don't think it hurt Silas. I think Silas won it when he was 17, right?
Yeah, Silas was young. There's a lot of guys that you kind of see that were young or, were 17 when they got, when they were seniors. It just, depends on how they fall and when your birth date is. And so it's, go out there and wrestle. And if you're good enough, you're going to get better. Especially the younger ones. Like, he's only 14. He's going to take some big jumps. And it's going to be, and it's going to be kind of fun. I mean, he's obviously already pretty darn tough. So
Joey was 17 too, man. That's what Joe said. Joey was a big win this weekend. I saw a little match out there.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, Whitehead has 2 dubs over him this year. Pretty tight matches.
Yeah. Oh, I guess someone's be celebrating a birthday this weekend. Well, hopefully he has a birthday cake and going to state.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, he needs
He celebrates the same birthday as the great Dustin Bentz.
Uh-oh. Wow. That's called sharing. That's too. I mean, he's already destined to be a legend.
My guy Thurman Stone won state in 1999 on his birthday.
Nice.
He has a twin brother. It was also his birthday. He did not win state. I like him too, though. He's a good dude.
Yes. Okay. Going down the next quarter bracket, Jalen Covington, Pendleton Heights, Evan Smith, North Central, Kale Creech of Centerville, and Maddox Cade from Southmont. So you got 6, 8, and 9 in the semi-state. So that should be some good matches. I'm guessing most have not wrestled each other. It does not appear that way.
I think Landon Vall had a good win over Maddox Cade. I think dropped him out of the rankings for a little bit, or out of the rankings totally. He didn't make it back in. But off the bat, 8 and 9, that'll be a good match. Jalen Covington, I think he went a long time with undefeated. So Pendleton Heights, I feel like they're really good right in this area. And then possibly set up that match with Southmont's Maddox Cade, who I think he's committed to wrestle somewhere, right? He committed this season.
Did he?
I remember his dad sent it to us. I thought so.
Maybe
it wasn't Maddox Cade.
Oh yes, Heidelberg. Yes.
All right, man.
You're right.
So you maybe second guess it for a second.
I guess I did not. That didn't ring a bell. But yeah. I was gonna say Cade has a win over. Or no, not Cade. Is it Covington? Covington is him and Smith are 1-1 against each other. That's gonna be interesting.
Those guys, I feel like there's a lot of how Dustin was saying, like a lot of the Evansville guys don't hit each other. I feel like there's a lot of rematches, and I feel like if you really dig into the numbers, you can win the Newcastle Pick'ems.
Yeah, because he beat Evan Smith, or Covington beat Evan Smith 9-8 in rideouts, I think, in the final rideouts. Evan Smith beat him 4-3 a couple weeks later. So the round 3 is in the first round of the semi-state, so that should be a good one. But yeah, that's one thing he said last night that I kind of knew, but then when he said it, like, wow, you're right, because there's no way to you can't even connect the dots. It's hard to connect the dots. Like here, Fort Wayne, East Chicago, you can kind of connect a few dots and see a little bit of a common opponents. It's not always perfect, but you can kind of get a gauge of like, okay, these guys are good, but heck, these two guys, it's a rematch. And we're mentioning lots of guys that have wrestled each other, so
yeah,
it should be interesting. Last quarter bracket, Kyrell Lavelle from Warren Central having a real good senior year, 3 state medals. Brian Thomas, Cathedral. Landon Vaught from Crawfordsville, and Landon Walton from South Dearborn.
A little Landon matchup.
Yes.
Landon Vaught had a pretty solid year too as a junior. Like I said, he had a pretty good win over Maddox Cade. Kyrell Lavelle is really good. Someone was saying, well, how good is he? I was like, he's been to state 3 times. He's been in the state semifinals 3 times. He's a state champ as a sophomore. I believe it's 3rd twice, right? 2/3 and a champ.
Yes.
Like, they don't hand those medals out. And it's not like he's doing it in like soft weights.
Yeah.
He's doing it in pretty good weight classes. Like other Division I level wrestlers, he's going to be wrestling for the Citadel, El Cid, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to my former coach, Sean Begley, also wrestled at the Citadel. So I think he's really good. His only loss is in the finals of the Al Smith to Clinton Shepard. So I'm sure they're looking to get that rematch back. The Shepard said that he's incredibly strong.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that was a real close match and kind of a bang takedown on the edge that got caught. Could have, I mean, it was a 50-50 position. You call and went Shepard's way. So I think he'll be obviously he's not gonna look ahead to that match, but that's something he is looking for. So. I was trying to I got to figure this out because I know we do not have very many guys going for their fourth state medals. I would say there's about 2 or 3, if I'm not mistaken. I know it's a little bit lesser this year, so I'll check that out here in a minute.
I think that guys that I think I said when he was a freshman that he's like probably one of the more impressive guys that I watched that year, and I think I had him not ranked that high. Maybe it was like an 8, and I thought I kind of went against my gut there.
Let's see. Nope. I'm trying to figure out who else has state medals. Ison, this will be his 4th time going.
But he lost 1 year, right?
Yeah, he qualified 1 time. Lavelle, obviously.
Is Gavin Whitehead going D1 too? Also,
I have not heard anything. Dylan Graham would be, but he got hurt the 1 year. Let's see. Hunter May would be going for 4-2.
Yeah.
There's going. Roman. Nope. Let's see. That would be it. So there's only be 2 guys potentially for 3 medals.
We haven't got to Russell yet. I was like, man, I was trying to look at 38. I'm like, who else is going D1 at 38 there?
Yeah.
I said, maybe Whitehead.
Yeah. So 144. We have Marlon Williams from Southmont, Nate Miller, Greenfield Central, Gavin McFarland at Richmond, Jack Todd, returning state qualifier from Pendleton Heights, took his first loss last week to Dylan Graham.
A couple once beaten seniors in that weight.
Yeah,
in the words of the great Kevin Whitehead.
Yeah, that's going to be that's going to be kind of weird not having his voice, but yeah. We'll talk about that next week.
I think he picked a bad year to retire, right?
Yeah.
He could just sneak right. I mean, if we didn't have the huge going away ceremony, he probably should have sneaked right back in there, right?
Yeah. So
Williams only losses to Colton Ballenbacher. I think that'd be a good match. Todd's pretty impressive. I think 28-1. He's had a really good year. I think that a couple once beaten guys, but you don't look past the first round. I know Nate Miller of Greenfield Central probably hoping that they kind of look at that ticker round.
Yeah, that should be good. Obviously, 2 1-loss guys. You got Christian Arbery, Warren Central, having a real good junior year after being 8th last year. Zach Trainum from Lebanon, Jalen Pugh from Hamilton Heights, and Naiden Houston from East Central.
Yeah, I think Pugh is having a solid year, 33-8. That'll be a good first round. Houston, I think there's been a couple Houstons at East Central. That'll be a solid first round match. Arbery likes to get his mat time in. I think at Al Smith he had a bunch of overtime matches. Had some really good matches with escape my mind right now.
Who? Courtney.
Yeah, Reese Courtney.
And 6:29. He went overtime with Walker, Courtney.
Yeah.
He's not.
He's not getting. He's trying to get that extra overtime in there. Really crazy match in the Al Smith finals with Courtney. But he's able to wrestle with anybody. I think that's a guy that's kind of getting overlooked too. Top 4 guy, and when they're talking about guys that could win, state at 44, I don't even think he's being mentioned.
Yeah.
And I think with a good weekend, I think he holds position really well. He's pretty confident in his attacks. I know he threw Zar Walker. It was a pretty exciting match. I think he maybe went double unders and threw Zar Walker. And then when he's walking past the announce table, he said, "I knew if I was getting there, I was throwing him." It's It's confidence, man. In overtime, that's confidence.
Yeah. So, yeah, that should be a good quarter bracket. Going down, you got Dylan Graham, Cathedral, Trevor Bruns from Franklin County, Chris Kassler from Hamilton Southeastern, and William May from Roncalli.
Another Roncalli Cathedral matchup, man. These guys are out here battling it out.
Yeah.
Graham been to state 3 times other than the injury year. Got 3 medals, right?
Yeah. Well, he has 2 medals, looking for a third, but yes.
But that's another one. 9 losses. I think he has some pretty. It's a really good list of guys that he's wrestled that's gave him a loss. I think he's a little bit further down the rankings.
Arbery, Courtney, Walker. I'm sure he's tired of wrestling Courtney 3 times already this year.
Yeah,
so that's
I'm sure he's
7.
happy not to see Walker and Courtney anymore.
Yeah.
So I think I like Graham coming out of that one, but like Roncalli has a lot of guys there. I'm sure May's another guy that's pretty solid. They got a lot of young guys coming back too. I'm surprised May's not ranked in the semi-state.
Yeah, me too. It's a pretty solid weight class overall if you're looking at the semi-state as far as guys that are there. Going down the last quarter bracket, O'Shea Phillips. Imagine that, a Phillips from Centerville. Gabriel McNamee from Bishop Chatard. Bryce Doss, Newpal, and Hank Fennessy from Zionsville. So you got 3 guys with rankings there. That should be a real good quarter bracket. Seeing if I don't think Doss and Fennessy probably wrestled. They did not.
Doss has a medal also.
8th last year at 120, so he's up 24 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, tough room, man. That's a really tough room. Like, you had to wrestle off there. You had to battle guys in the state rankings across the board. O'Shea Phillips having a really good senior year, 45-3. I wonder if there's any more Phillips coming in behind him because they've had some Phillips there for a while. Yeah. His 3 losses: Gavin Whitehead 9-8, Tay Curtis and Avery Stanley 6-4. Bryce Doss and Fennessy. I thought Fennessy wrestled really well at the Al Smith. I know he placed. I think Zionsville had 2 placers, right?
Yeah.
They had Fennessy and Pinola. That'd be a really good first round match. I think we talked about it a little bit before, but jumping that weight, like Doss might have been one of the stronger guys at 120, and then when you come up, 25 pounds, you might not be one of the stronger guys anymore. It takes a little bit to adjust to that weight class. So it looks like he's wrestling stronger as the year goes on. So that first match be pretty good to get to a pretty solid tick-around match.
150. Going down there, you got Braden Tudor, from Lawrenceburg. Braden Getz, number 8 in the state, 3 in the semi-state. He was a qualifier 2 years ago at 113. Talk about moving up in weight. Tyler Lavin, Cathedral, and Jacob Weaver, Rossville. So everyone has a number beside their name, and that's 1, 8, 3, 10. That'll be a good one.
I think Getz ended up getting injured, correct? Is that what they said? He injury defaulted to 4th?
Yes, it appears so, yeah. So hopefully he's able to wrestle.
Yeah, I think that's not the time you want to be. You never want to be injured. And any injury that you have right now, for everyone that's watching that's not young, like not old, as soon as you get to like being old, you hit 40, you're like, man, I think I rolled my ankle one time when I was 13. Now it hurts every day.
Yeah.
So you never want to be injured. But Weaver's wrestling really well. I think that could be a really good possible. Lavin, I thought Lavin wrestled really well at the Al Smith too. I was really impressed with Lavin. But Weaver possibly Getz, depending on where Getz is at injury-wise. Hopefully he's able to give it a go.
Yeah, so that should be real good. Lavin's had a good year for Cathedral after he was at Newpal actually. So previously Weaver obviously pretty good. Next quarter bracket: Moses Stevenson from Franklin Central, Zach Gollier from Hagerstown, Jackson Schmidt from Carmel, and Daniel Adams from Bishop Chatard. So Moses the only one with a ranking there.
and his name's properly spelled now. We misspelled that early on.
Yes.
I misspelled it, and I think you just transferred it from my misspelling.
Yeah, yes.
But no, he's having a really good year, really good sophomore. Jackson Smith, I know that was a guy that Ed was telling me early on to keep an eye on, that the more he wrestles. I feel like Ed always gets the guys that are in these middleweights that have been sitting behind guys and they're seniors and they come out and they're at the semi-state, they're at the state finals, they're in the ticket round. So I think he told me to watch that guy, and here he is, and with an opportunity in a pretty good spot there.
Next quarter bracket is Carson Fettig from Hamilton Heights, 39-1. His only loss is to Wyatt Davis of Rochester, Graydon Staley from Westfield, Darren Reynolds of Newcastle, and Jesse Franklin from North Central. Franklin, I think he was one of those that we were kind of, where is he? Wasn't he one of those?
Yeah.
Where in the is he alive? Where is he? And he came out late and having a good year.
Yeah, I thought he wrestled really well last year, Jesse Franklin. So he was on the watch list, and then I watching North Central results, and I wasn't getting a lot of messages from those guys. But I had MIA next to his name. So some of the guys that we didn't know where they were at, I just put MIA on the ranking. And I think when Joe did the teams for Team State, he just took it from the spreadsheet, and some of them had MIA, and we had that there's some other ones that we put on there, like if a guy quit, we might have put a reason in why he quit. I'm glad no one posted that. Fettig is solid, man. He's really good. That'll be a solid match, possibly him and Jesse Franklin, Darren Reynolds, but a couple sophomores in there, all underclassmen except for Fettig.
Yeah, it should be a good one. Last quarter bracket, Mason Davis, Western Boone, Caleb Lehman from...
Did you say Mason Davis or Mason Adams?
Mason Adams. I don't know why I said Davis.
I was just double checking. I said, man, I just printed this thing.
I don't know how I did that. Yeah, that says Dave Adams. I don't know why I'm saying Davis. I don't know Mason Davis or anything. Caleb Lehman from Noblesville, Aaron Durham from Warren Central, and Logan Schott from East Central. So 7-9 in the semi-state. That should be a pretty solid one. I'm pretty positive they have not wrestled, and they have not.
Yeah, I think that'd be a pretty wide open quarter bracket. Durham has the ability to wrestle, I think, with anybody in the state, but I think there's sometimes that he has some results that are kind of head scratching. So if whoever shows up on Saturday to wrestle well, I haven't seen enough of Mason Adams. When's the last time Western Boone's had a medalist?
A medalist?
But
it would have been, I should know this person.
It was after McCloskey, right? I thought there was one guy a year after McCloskey that was pretty good.
Jonathan Morales. He was a gorilla. He was on the gorilla team at Scholastic Duels. Nice kid. So yeah, he medaled, then was fifth, and then was a qualifier the year after. So they've had McCloskey. They have not had a state champion. McCloskey and John McLean were their only runner-ups. So
remember when John McLean went to the Christmas party with his ex-wife?
Yes.
Dude, that was such a wild night. I bet he didn't see that coming.
No.
And then Steve Urkel's next door neighbor was the police officer on duty that night. Man, what a time to be alive, fellas.
Yes. Nice. Ay.
We are going to start a heavyweight for the East Chicago breakdown.
Yes. Yeah, just for Joe Clark, because we have to make him happy, because he's big and mean. He's not mean.
Super nice. I was like, what's Joe Clark to you now? The one that used to run East Side High?
No.
I'm just throwing out 80s references right now.
Hey, gotta show our age, I guess. 157, Zach Lang, Hamilton Southeastern, Turner Seal from Pendleton Heights, David Maurer from Batesville, and Silas Foster from Purdue Polytech. Looking for their first state qualifier. You got a number 4 and 13 in the state, so that should be a pretty good matchup there.
Let me turn my page here. Sorry, I was checking something. Mason Adams with a big win over Jacob Weaver at the regional too. Put himself in a good spot. All right, sorry. Zach Lang, Yeah, Zach Lang, Silas Foster. That's gonna be a really good match. I believe Zach Lang's only losses are to Aiden Kincaid, correct?
Yep.
All three of them.
Two of them. I do not have the third.
Silas Foster's only 2 losses to Anthony Cashman, sectional regional.
Yep.
I know he had beat Anthony Cashman early on. I mean, he's got a secret weapon. He has a secret weapon in his corner, man. He has the professor, right?
Yes, the professor will have him ready.
The professor will have him ready. Now he's really good. I'm super happy that this year I think that he went a better weight for him. I know last year I think he lost to the scale, and I think he's really talented. I think of all the schools that are looking for their first day qualifier, I mean Zach Lang's really really good. That's gonna be a really good tick around match possibly, and that's not to discount what Seal and Mailer can do, but Prudent Polytechnical, they've only had wrestling for a handful of years, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they just kind of started the program there, and they're doing pretty well. They've got a good girls program going, and starting to really. I mean, I don't know exactly if that's it's kind of like a charterish school, but they're kind of taking over for some of the inner cities. I honestly don't know exactly. It's kind of something that is really.
Have we not done a Purdue Polytechnical article?
Yeah, we did do an article on him last year, I believe.
Okay.
So, according to Lang's coach, his other losses out of state. So, I don't think he's going to wrestle him in our state series.
Nope.
So
we appreciate that.
So yeah, that's going to be a great quarter bracket there. Going down, you got Aiden Kincaid from Noblesville having a real good freshman year. His losses are to Kane, who is not in this quarter bracket. I was thinking he was Braden Getz, Xavier Smith, and Mason Day. So some pretty solid losses for a freshman. Has some really good wins. He has Eli.
Those wins over Lang are incredibly good. I mean, Lang's really tough.
Yeah. So yeah, and he lost to Michael Kane early in the year and has beaten him the past 2 weeks. So that's pretty. That's a good sign, I guess, for him. He has Eli Turner of Westfield, Jaden Jeffries from New Pal. I saw him commenting here a few minutes ago. And Brody Wingate from East Central.
Jaden Jeffries is in there, so don't sleep on him.
He was saying something about somebody else in the from New Pal.
I thought he was just going to put Z's by his name, so don't sleep on me, guys.
There he is. He said Kincaid is a beast. Feel bad for the other guys in the bracket. You feel bad for yourself? Kincaid's tough freshman. Coach Weimer has a good one right there.
Yeah, he does. I mean, too bad Kincaid has to wrestle for a guy that grows a mustache like that. Man, we were on that North Central. Is the North Central guy that grows that real big mustache still there too?
Yeah, well, I know Lou Silverman stepped down, so I don't know if he's still coaching there or not. So,
all right. Is Weimer's in mustache mode right now or no?
Yes, I believe he is. Also, regional coach of the year from what I saw on social media.
Congratulations. A really good guy, man. He makes wrestling fun.
Yeah.
I think that's a lost element sometimes. I think we tend to take it real serious. I know we don't always take it really serious, but a lot of other people take it really serious. So I think Weimer with the mustache, one more week, man. I'm sure his wife loves it.
Yes. So I guess that the North Central coach is not coaching. So
I seen that one come up. So
yeah.
I like Kincaid coming through there. But since my guy Jaden Jeffries is in there and he's telling me how tough he is, but don't sleep on him. Pull off the upset right there. He said the whole staff's in mustache mode. Let's go. Andrew Fleener.
Jeez. Poor.
That's
yeah.
No Shea State tournament. I like it.
So, going down, last half bracket, Anthony Cashman, Warren Central, returning state placer. Having a
semifinalist, right?
Yep. He was 4th last year after qualifying.
Up a weight too. He was up at was he at 70 last year?
Yeah, he's at 70, so he's down 13 pounds. So he's going to be in a good spot there. Denver Campbell from Rushville, Finn Russell from Cathedral, and Blake Wall from Zionsville.
I think Wall's pretty solid. I know he's kind of been in and out of the rankings a little bit. Cashman's really good. I'm a big Anthony Cashman fan. I like his style. I like the way he wrestles. I think he wrestles a little edgy too, which I like. I think those guys that wrestle a little bit tougher, a little bit of meat on him. So I got Cashman punching his ticket.
Yeah, Finn Russell's had to. I know Ken I was getting ready to say it. Ken beat me to it, but he's had some good wins this year. Some not good losses. I know it's one of those, you're wrestling Cathedral schedule, so you're going to wrestle some good kids, and he's had you can't overlook him there. Obviously, he's going to have a tough take around if he makes it that far with Cashman.
Oh yeah, I think like anytime you got one of the Irish at semi-state, it's really tough. I don't think anyone's ever got a Cathedral kid and be like, great, that's the guy I wanted.
Yeah. Going down last quarter bracket, Caleb Wilburn from Milan, Julian Eage from Shelbyville, Yario Ojeda Cortez from Carmel, and Michael Kane from Hamilton Heights. So 3 guys with numbers 11 and 15. I'm guessing no one has wrestled each other, though.
Milan 43 and 2. And that's a pretty good junior year for Caleb Wilburn, regional champ. I know Shelbyville was in the mix for. They were in the conversation. I think they were a little bit further down the vote for team state, but I know that they submitted the information. So we kind of looking at their stuff. I thought they wrestled pretty well. Another guy that Coach Ed kind of said, hey, keep an eye on was Ojeda Cortez. That he works really, really hard. Michael Kane, really tough junior, really tough last year. I think he's pretty talented.
Yeah, that should be a good quarter bracket there. 165. Another Bishop Chatard wrestler, Cade Rickard, number 22 in the state. Dominic Shelby, Eastern Hancock. Zach Huckabee, 2-time state qualifier from Parameridian, and Jacob Cole from Rossville. So that should be a good, kind of wide open quarter bracket. I know the Rossville has some pretty good guys. They have the Weavers, and obviously Cole's probably right in the middle there, so he gets beat on by both of them, and that could probably only help him.
What if he's the guy that's doing? What if he's beating those guys?
Well, then that's even better.
Huckabee 2 years ago, unranked, qualified, kind of snuck to the bracket last year. Was in the state rankings, went to state. He's gonna have a tough one. Cade Ricker's pretty good. He's the one. He's a pretty good rugby player. Did they say that before? Maybe Cameron told us that. Yeah. Sometimes I take what people tell me as straight on the nose, so I'm not sure. But he's really good, super athletic. I think that'll be a good tick-around match. Huckabee's been there twice and found 2 ways through, but we'll see.
Going down, you got Damian Dance, Batesville, William Wolford, Tipton, Hunter Lancaster from Westfield, and James Dozier from Roncalli.
Damian Dance having a really good season, undefeated.
Yes, he was right on the edge of being ranked. I know he was. I know I created a profile because he was right. I mean, I know he was 26, 27, right in that range, and so I saw that. I just remember putting him in there because I'm like, okay, Mike has him on the list. So
Cade Rickard does not have rugby on his thing. I might have made that up, guys. So, yeah, Damian Dance undefeated. William Warford, Tipton, 22 and 14. Lancaster and Dozer. Dozer's had a really solid year for Roncalli too. I think Roncalli has wrestled a really tough schedule to have single-digit losses and where they've been and where they've been going, team state, modern day, everywhere. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he has some good wins this year, so that should be a good quarter bracket. Going down.
Yeah, Howie both didn't have Damian Dance ranked.
No.
I thought he snuck last one. Sometimes when I see guys undefeated at the state tournament, I'd like to see if maybe they snuck in the state, and I think he was here last year.
Yeah.
I didn't have him.
So going down, you got Xavier Smith. Fisher's having a real good sophomore year. His 2 losses are to Michael Mavros and Evan Rowdy Bush. Gabe Fleck from New Pal. That's who he has first round. And Jason Shrike from Anderson. Jackson, that's an interesting way to spell Jackson. Prater from East Central. First time I've seen it spelled that way.
I think there was a bad guy pro wrestler that used to spell his name Jackson like that. I think he was like a vampire, though. He's a vampire pro wrestler. Nice. Xavier Smith's really good. I heard he has a pretty good track profile.
He's putting the time in the offseason, definitely having some, that's paying off here, and a real good spot to punch his ticket.
Yeah, I think he's really tough. I know I think that loss to Mavros kind of dropped him down, but he was still, still top 15.
Yeah. The last quarter bracket should be pretty solid. You got Waylon Kressel from Warren Central, having a pretty good year after coming back from North Dakota. Braden Heights from Crawfordsville. Caden McClellan from Milan, and then Carter Richardson from Noblesville, returning state qualifier there. Not the draw he really wanted there.
Maybe. I think everyone counted Carter Richardson out last year. And,
yes.
Cradled his way right to the state finals, including this guy. I didn't have him in the rankings.
Yeah.
I think he's not. He doesn't have those double-digit losses, so maybe he's not sneaking up on people like he did last year. Maybe they're still. I don't know. Guys are still choosing down against him. But they said he has a pretty good cradle.
Yeah.
Waylon Kressel is really tough, man. 33-1. Only losses to Reinhardt at the Al Smith in a really tight match. So Carter Richardson, I think you're right. That's probably not the – I would say in two of the other three – well, I guess one of those guys had to beat him for a regional title, but –
yeah, he lost to Smith earlier in the year. Who was the other one? Obviously, he didn't wrestle Damian Dance. So that should be that. You got to wrestle somebody, and he's not afraid to pull some upsets.
Yeah, I'm sure he's one of those guys that are probably like, hey, go ahead and count me out. They counted me out last year, and I was at the state finals getting a free ticket while you guys are having to pay.
Yep.
I don't know if he's that kind of kid. I have no, but I've never met him. I don't know if he's that much of a trash talker.
Now, I'm sure Weimer probably is the one that talks trash there. Nah. He's always excited. I always love when I get a call from him. So, 175, got Brenton Russell, returning fourth place finisher. Only one loss to our guy Chase Leach from G-Town. He has Drake Rohrbacher from Lawrenceburg. Gage Gully, number 25, from Noblesville. And Landon Hicks of Hamilton Southeastern.
Gully and Hicks would be an interesting first-round match. I mean, Gully had some really good wins this year. I think he had one weird loss, but he's had some nice wins that I know. Just kind of looking at it, I'm trying to think who his win. He had a really good win early on that kept someone out of the ranking, pushed someone down the rankings. 75. Let's see, Gage Gully.
Farrell, probably.
Yep, maybe Crew Farrell. Unfortunate for Crew. I think he had to be withdrawn for an injury. So that'll be an interesting first match. Brenton Russell is one of my favorite wrestlers to watch on the stage. He's a guy that is going to put up points. He's not afraid to throw people, which as a coach, I'm sure it's stressful. He probably puts himself in some positions, but that they're not, that put himself at risk. But he's also a guy that wins a lot. So 32-1. He's going to put up points. He's pretty exciting to watch. Was in the mix. He was number one for a little bit. He was at an incredibly deep Al Smith weight. Ended up taking third there. One of my favorite guys. If we did a pick of your favorite top 10 favorite guys, style wise in the state, Brenton Russell is one of my top picks. I think he wrestles an incredible high paced style that if I had people that didn't watch wrestling that I wanted to say, hey man, you guys want to go watch a really cool match and get them excited about the sport, I'd go take them to watch Brenton Russell.
Yeah, I know Leach wrestled him in the semis at Al Smith. They'd wrestled at Freestyle State, and I can't remember who won, but I know Nick and them were like, okay, we're going to have a game plan. We're going to do this and this. And, you could tell Leach had been thrown or knew that, he didn't want to go upper body with him and stayed in good positions and ended up, winning a real good match and wrestled a heck of a match against him. And, that's hard. You got to be, when you're wrestling someone like that, that is so hard to stay focused for 6 straight minutes because you're one bad position, one
Oh yeah.
you're just used to getting into an underhook, and he's like, okay, good, and then next thing you know, you're counting lights. So that takes a lot of discipline, a lot of control to do that. So that's and obviously only one kid's been able to do that all year. So that tells you how good he is at what he does.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
So next quarter bracket: Sam Pavey, sophomore from Rushville; Silas Fry from Greenfield Central. Got about the best draw he could get. Jared Graves, Park Heritage. That is a newer school. And Branson Adkins from Tipton.
Yeah. The only guy that's ranked in that quarter bracket is Silas Fry of Greenfield Central, 23-10. Everyone else not ranked in the semi-state or state. I mean, at this point in the season, it doesn't matter. You kind of throw rankings out the window. But Silas Fry is battle tested. I know he's wrestled a really good schedule. I think he was at semi-state last year also. Really tough kid. I wouldn't be surprised to see him pull through that bracket. But Sam Pavey put himself in a really good spot to advance also by winning his regional.
Last half bracket: John Mangus, Zionsville; Camden Shelton, Alexandria; Cameron Gilb from Milan; and Michael White from Lawrence North.
Did Michael White and John Magnus wrestle at Zionsville early on? Yes. John Magnus, pretty solid. Michael White's had a really good year, sophomore season for Lawrence North. Lawrence North's doing some really good stuff there. I think they're starting to get some. They have some. If you're a big guy and you're not getting good in that room, like that's going to be a problem. Like they have some really talented upper weight coaches there that are getting guys really good.
Yeah, they got some big guys there. Michael White has had a real good season. A lot of like you said, they're wrestling a lot of good matches, which helps. I mean, he has quite a few matches on his significant matches. He beat Chase Leach, who beat arguably the top guy in this bracket. Wrestled Kressel, he beat Mangus, pinned Mangus in 29 seconds or 42 seconds. Blah. So yeah, he's had a good year and battle tested, ready to roll right now.
Yeah, his 5 losses are to Bray M. Ryan, who's pretty good, who I think Triple B picked to qualify yesterday at the Evansville Semi-State. Bretton Russell twice, Tech Fall 17-12. So those guys are not afraid to put up points. So it looks like if those guys are in the finals, that there's going to be some points scored. I'm just saying, if there's a 1-0 match, I've been wrong before, but those guys might be able to put up some points.
Yeah.
He also got pinned by Brenton Russell. Or no, I'm on a different one now, sorry. And then Sear Goodwise. I'm off there, man. I'm off.
Yeah, he beat Sear Goodwise. White beat Goodwise 11-8. So, yeah, he puts up points. All his matches, he's not winning 2-1. That's for sure. So, going down, last quarter bracket, Kyle Harden. Been held out most of the year, come back for the state series, and his only loss is an injury default at sectional in the finals. He just didn't wrestle, trying to heal up as much as possible another week to be healthier. Thomas Thompson from Lebanon, Sear Goodwise from Perry, and Travis Riley from East Central. So you got 2 and 3 in the semi-state going at it. Obviously, Harden's a returning state placer, but how close to 100% is he? I'm sure no one will tell us officially.
No, I think that's tough because he's really talented. He's a lot of fun to watch too.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what pushed him down the ranking. Was I didn't know how healthy he was. I didn't know if they got to a point they're like, hey, we're just going to injury default out. Like this isn't worth it. I think he's a pretty good football player too. So the longer you prolong any injury, it kind of affects another sport. But man, can his dad cook some stuff on the grill?
Yes, yeah. Man, I hope he's setting up outside Evansville for sure.
Man, if they don't got him a booth on the Fans Fest, what are we doing, man?
No, he's coming. He'll be coming over to us. I got a seat. I'll bring a grill. Hey, dude, we'll
have an IndianaMat booth, and we'll have Kenny Harden cooking wings. Let's do it, man.
Yes. Rocco might want to come too then, because Rocco, man, I've never seen him inhale a chicken wing like he did. That dude, he was just picking them straight off the grill. He didn't care that they're burning hot. He's like, whoa, these things are so good.
Yeah, go follow our guy Kenny Harden on Twitter. You can see he's put some creations out there. It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's food P word. Don't want to get bland on the food.
Uh,
Yeah. So anyway, go ahead.
Sierra Goodwise, really good. He had a really good summer. 28-5 sophomore. So a couple of sophomores, really talented sophomores. There are a lot of underclassmen here. Yeah. I think Michael White's also a sophomore. A couple seniors up top. I think they're going to bring back a lot of really talented guys at I almost said Noblesville. At Newcastle Semi-State.
Yep. 190. Starting off, we got Jonah Ellis Frankton, Brody Heidelberger from Roncalli, Tyler Davis, Southmont, Nathan Schaefer from Newcastle. No one has a single number beside their name, so I'm sure Mike's going to know everything about these guys.
Let's go. Let's start up here.
And the least amount of losses is 9. This is a call to pick 'em.
I like this, man. And you got some good programs here. Tyler Davis probably having to wrestle Wyatt Woodall every day. Probably not fun for South Montgomery. Newcastle's going to have some home cooking. He's going to be right in his own gym. What is it? It's not called. Is it still called Chrysler Gym?
It's called the Newcastle Fieldhouse per the IHSAA.
The Newcastle Fieldhouse. So he's going to have his own. He's been on them green mats before.
Yes.
I'm sure he's going to be excited with an opportunity to go. Like, if you're picking him, this is where you want to be at, right? Yes. Brody Heidelberg, Ron Cali, like we talked about earlier. Man, his brother is a monster, bro. His brother wrestled elementary school state. They wrestled Hobart, Ron Cali in the whatever the middle class is. And the kid from Hobart goes out there, and he looks like a normal, 12-year-old heavyweight. And then this giant monster walks out. I can't believe they're sending a coach out there to wrestle this kid. And dude, he was huge. So he probably has to wrestle his brother every day, man. And he's an elementary school kid. Yeah. My brother said his dad's a pretty excitable guy. He was going crazy on the mat because they'll pin. I think sealed it for Ron Cali. And Jonah Ellis of Frankton won a regional there, 21-10 junior. So. Regional champ. Pendleton Heights regional is usually pretty solid. So I might pick Heidelberg there. Might start the trend. I mean, he's a pretty big sophomore, 190-pound sophomore too. Yeah,
that should be that one's gonna win some pick'ems for some people. I'd love to see. I might have to go through them and see what everyone's picking. I mean, you gotta that's gonna be interesting.
I think Heidelberger, his dad works for Cambridge, so. Maybe hook us up with some sweets, man.
Could. I mean, we'll put him in the rankings. I don't care if he has 15 losses.
Man, I'm telling you, when I went back and seen, he's a big kid for 192, and I'm sure, like his brother's big, he's big. I've never met the dad or anything, but some big boys, man.
Yeah. And then you got a just ugly quarter bracket here. Clay Gannon from Greenfield Central having a great senior year. Has had over his career, he's just had a ton of really good wins. 32-1. His one loss is, I do not know. Do you know? It's not. We don't have it recorded.
If it's not recorded, I'm gonna say I don't know.
So yeah, that's interesting. They're usually pretty good. Oscar Kirch from Cathedral. Brandon Coulter from East Central, and Luke Pinola took his first loss to Noah Weaver, and got just a tough, brutal draw here.
Brutal, man. Yeah, looking at this is like one of those ones. It's just like a gut punch, right?
Yeah.
Clay's been really tough the last couple of years. He has not punched a ticket yet, right?
No, he's been close.
Yeah, he's had some tough semi-states.
2 years ago, he had some really good. Who did he beat? Him and I'd go back because I do have those matches on there. He lost a close one to Aiden Russell. Lost him and Cashman went back and forth. And he had Kyle Harden in the ticket round last year, 4-3.
So I mean, he's had some brutal draws there, right?
Yes.
Luke Pinola, really solid. That's gonna be a really good match. I mean, really, I think in my opinion, it's a coin flip. I don't know if they wrestled a lot. I'm really impressed with Pinola. I think he's really tough. I know he had a win over Bisping at the Al Smith. That's a brutal draw. I mean, probably of any other one. I mean, Weaver did work and won his, but any other bracket, I think both of those guys would be the favorite in.
Yeah. It's two seniors. That's kind of brutal. I mean, when you're seeing the lighter weights, they're sophomores or juniors or freshmen, you're not as like gut punched. But two seniors that probably should be there. That kind of sucks, but I guess that's why we wrestle.
Wrestle backs.
Going down last half bracket, Noah Weaver, Rossville, having a real good year. Oops.
That actually, I think that's the one that wins you the pickups. Whoever, like, if you pick the winner there, because they'd be the favorites to go to the finals. If you mispick it, they don't go to the finals. That's a lot of points off your score.
Yeah. Yes, it is. So yeah, you gotta get both those right actually, because because you get 10 points for getting the correct pick that made the top 4, and then -1 for each placement you're off. So you just gotta get those right guys in there, and you're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
So Weaver has Caleb Cohey from Northeastern, Michael Price from Arsenal Tech, and then Jalen Young, number 3 in the semi-state from Perry Meridian. He's having a pretty good senior year. Pretty tough draw, though.
Yeah, that's a tough one because Noah Weaver's wrestling really well. I know Noah Weaver spent a little time in the national rankings. Had some good wins this summer. But, again, like, don't count out Perry Meridian the ticket round.
Yeah. And then going down, you got Beck Boham from Franklin County, Deshaun Tenor from Hamilton Southeastern, and Colin Wetzel from New Pal, and Chris Crank from Pendleton Heights. So Tenor got about the best draw you could, second best draw I guess you could get, and as a 4 there.
Yeah, I know that they're pretty high on him at Hamilton Southeastern.
Turnois.
That's a guy. That's what?
Turnois.
That's his name?
Yeah.
You put it in there?
Yeah, bro.
I like that. I know that that's a guy that they've been telling me is pretty tough the last couple of years, and he's in a good spot. I would be willing to bet of a 4. That's probably. And my guy Courtney Duncan is a pretty good coach for Frankton. His daughter's a really good softball player. She's going to Taylor University to play softball. We played them a couple weeks back. But Wetzel, Tenor, that could be a good one. But Breck Bowman, 38-2 from Franklin County, regional champ. So possibly don't sleep on that guy also.
Guessing Gannon got beat by one of the Union County kids, I bet. That's probably who his losses to from earlier in the season. I bet it's from Ryle, Kentucky. Ryle. Anyway, okay, 215. Turning state placer Devin Kendricks, top of the bracket here. He has Kane McLaughlin from Zionsville, Zane Richardson from Milan, and Andrew Choi from Bishop Chatard. So Chatard and Mount Vernon Fortville used to be in the same regional, but now they are opposite, so they get to kind of relinquish that rivalry, I guess.
Man, it is windy outside. I hear it whistling, man. Is it windy by you guys too or no?
No, I haven't heard anything. I'm kind of in a little area where blocked by a house beside me.
We're not. Cornfields, man. Devin Kendrick's a really solid junior. I think he's put himself in a good spot. It sounds like he had a really good regional match with Brandon Johnson. Andrew Troy had a really good sectional where he got a fall over Jackson Weigard, and then Jackson Weigard come back and beat him this week. It sounds like that was a pretty heated little rivalry going on between Chatard and Cathedral. So let's put that on the schedule every year. That should be like, I was trying to post like how to build the best schedule. I think that dead Friday, whether you have conference the week before sectionals or that off week, you should schedule like a Friday night duel where there's where you have like a rival school come in and like really sell it.
Yeah, no, that's huge when you get good rivalry schools on and off night when other things aren't going on. Fridays are good, and you can bring in a good crowd.
Oh yeah, I think Kendricks punches his ticket through that quarterfinal. I'm a Devin Kendricks fan. I think he wrestles a pretty good style. I know he wrestles a lot.
Yep. Next quarter bracket: Wyatt Woodall from Southmont, 27-0. Tristan Lanham from Greenfield Central. Garrick Ellis from Frankton, and Zane Schneider from Northeastern. So, 3 guys that have some rankings. I'm guessing no one has wrestled each other, though.
I gotta respond to this text. One of the girls on my team saying she can't go to practice tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah. Woodall coming in undefeated, 4th in the semi-state, number 13 in the state. He's been in the ticket round a couple times, looking to punch his ticket to state. He was a qualifier last year, at 195. Schneider from Northeastern having a good year, 37-4. Only have one of his losses in the database, but
yeah, I really like Wyatt Woodall. I think he's a guy. I believe he's either middle school state champ or freshman sophomore champ, and he's kind of always been right on that cusp. So hopefully, maybe he'll get a medal for the Mounties.
Yes. Last half bracket. This one's pretty good. Brandon Rouse from East Central. They always have a good 215, 220 pounder. They always have some real good big guys. They have a good football team, so that's not to be that coincides usually. Eli Libler from Pendleton Heights, number 22. Evan Lawhead from Hamilton Southeastern, and then Brandon Johnson, another returning state placer. That's a pretty tough quarter bracket.
I mean, when you have there's not a ton of guys with state rankings in there, but you have 3 guys that are monsters. Brandon Rouse has been in the mix. I know he's had some good wins in his career, 36-2. Lawhead's been really good. I know I believe he was at 190 a little bit. Now he's at 215. They said it's a better adjustment. And then as a runner-up, that's probably, let me look here. Let me double-check before I say anything. That's probably not as a third place, that's probably not the runner-up you want. That's like probably the only runner-up. You're like, let me not get the one that has a medal. You got the one that has a medal, okay?
Yeah.
So that first round match I think that would be pretty good. Like I said, Hamilton Southeastern, I don't think they're sneaking up on people. I think that everyone's pretty aware how good they are. They're real well coached, but Brandon Johnson's pretty tough.
Yeah. How would Rouse not be in the semi-state rankings? He beat Schneider and Lawhead. Interesting. So, yeah, that's a pretty good quarter bracket. The next one's just as
bias.
Yeah. So, last quarter bracket, 215. Jackson Weingart, he has a state medal. Andrew Jones from Batesville. Sean Glass from New Pal having a real good senior year with only 3 losses. And then Aiden Hinchy from North Vermilion. He also only has 3 losses. So not very many losses in this quarter bracket.
Oh, not at all. I wonder if Hinchy was one of the undefeated North Vermilion guys to start off. I know they had a handful of guys that are undefeated. I know a couple weeks ago someone said Sean Glass is a dog, and he goes out there and just puts on the line. That'll be pretty good. I think that'll be a good first-round match. Jackson Weigart's fun to watch wrestle. I mean, he had that awesome match with Will Clark at the Al Smith where he's just tough to wrestle. I think he's just really hard to wrestle. I know he's had Kendricks' number a little bit, so I think that the Kendricks family might be pulling for Glass and looking to try to get a semi-state title.
Yeah. Sorry, Rouse beat Schneider, lost to Lawhead, so I was looking too quickly. Thankfully, I have colored. The wins and losses are red or green. So, last bracket here, 285. You got Michael Henderson, Northeastern, Harrison Fife, Alexandria, Paris Green from Warren Central, and Dace McNeil from Zionsville. Paris Green's another one of those guys that he's been around since like at least 2010, it seems.
I know, man. I feel like he's been in there, and maybe they had another Paris Green because I feel like I've had him in there for 8 years. But that'll be Michael Henderson, really flying under the radar. Not semi-state ranked or state ranked. 28-2. Like I said, I don't get a ton of Northeastern results, but it seems like he's been wrestling really well. Paris Green, really, I think turn one. See, like it's just late. Like I get it like coming up late. Paris Green. Sometimes you see a result, it's like, oh man, he could wrestle with anybody in the state. And sometimes you get a result, and you're like, that's a weird loss.
Yeah.
So just if he's finding that consistency, and I'm sure those guys will have him ready to go, he's going to be a tough out for anybody.
Yeah. The next quarter bracket, probably the just most brutal one in the semi-state. Jose Smith has a state medal, number 8 in the state, 3 in the semi-state. Nathan Westover from Centerville, Killian Miller from Carmel, number 4 in the semi-state, 21 in the state, and then number 1 in the semi-state, number 14 in the state, Jacob McClure. So that's going to be a good one because McClure, he beat Jose Smith earlier in the year, 3-2. So that should be very interesting. And I'm trying to see, did he wrestle? He's lost.
Killian Miller had some really good wins too.
McClure's beaten him twice.
He's beaten Jose Smith twice, right?
Yeah.
And he got pinned by Killian Miller though. Killian Miller, that was kind of like what I saw when I was doing the ranking. Was Killian Miller had a fall over McClure, and McClure had a couple wins over Smith, but Smith's got a medal. He has a couple other guys too, right?
Yeah. I don't know if this linked to the right profile. Yeah, so that's going to be that's going to be a heavyweight bracket to just make sure you're keep an eye on right there.
Yeah, that's a pretty good quarter with 3 guys that I'm not sure, but they'd be guys that you'd be trying to pick to see who wins.
Yeah, I don't know why these aren't linking. Anyway, I'll fix those later. Next quarter bracket, you got Braden Fleener from Greenfield Central having a good senior year, Drew Thatcher, Clinton Prairie, Ty Everson from Frankton, and Max Amberger from Batesville.
Yeah, I've really been impressed with Fleener. I know he was in the state rankings a little bit. He had a really good win early on over Isaac Moss. Amberger, I believe he was there last year too, 38-2, took his second loss in the regional championship. That'll be a really good match. Greenfield Central wrestled a really tough schedule, and I think we talked about that during the team state pick'em stuff. Was like, this is why you wrestle that tough schedule. So when you get to the semi-state level, even if you have 7 losses, you're a battle-tested guy.
Yeah. Greenfield Central, those guys, if you look at their profiles, they have a ton of matches. I mean, they have 10, 15 matches, significant matches, and that tells you the kind of schedule they're wrestling. Actually, Fleener might have the least amount, but he still has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 significant matches. So that's pretty good. Last quarter bracket, Nate Ingalls from Hamilton Southeastern, Jacob Harker from Shelbyville. Then you got 2 guys state ranked, Levi DeGroat, number 25 of Connorsville, and Austin Hastings, returning state qualifier from Noblesville.
Yeah, Austin Hastings took a loss to Jose Smith. I don't know if it put him in a better spot, like being the regional champ, but I think Hastings is really tough. That's going to be a really good one. I've been really impressed with Levi DeGroat. Also, he had some really good results, 24-4. And then Ingalls has done his job. Regional champ, put himself in a good spot, 19-6. Also, Hamilton Southeastern wrestles a really tough schedule. I think that's one of those things that when I look at when I'm doing my pick'ems, like it's not always about like who has the least amount of losses. It's like who's wrestling that tougher schedule, who's wrestled those tight matches and found ways to win. And I'm not saying that Jacob Harker hasn't. That's not what I'm saying. I don't want anyone to feel that way. But the teams that that have those 6 or 7 losses that are regional champs, those guys have been out there going.
Yeah. So nobody scored a point on him at the Spartan Classic. That's pretty good. That's you can't sleep on. I mean, Ingalls or anyone. You can't really sleep on anyone this level. If you do, you're going to go home a little bit earlier than you want, and we've all seen it every year. It'll happen where a kid's looking forward to another match and kind of thinking, oh, this guy from Shelbyville's kind of a pushover, and next thing you know, they're going home early. And
especially at the heavyweight level, you're talking about guys that hold position well, and you can get those rideouts, and it becomes a coin flip.
Yep. Yeah. So pretty good semi-state here. I have updated I was going to probably release that tomorrow. The power polls, nothing's really changed as far as where a couple teams have kind of shifted, in the 6 to 10 range, dropping out all the teams or the wrestlers that are out of the tournament for whatever reason. So I'll release those tomorrow. But top tier, it should be a good semi-state. Warren Central, Indianapolis Cathedral, about 12 points separate them based on my projections. So that's gonna be real close. That's one guy not making the semifinals. You're losing the semifinals.
Is that from the state rankings or from the semi-state rankings?
Semi-state.
Nice.
So that should be pretty good. I mean, I'm gonna guess that's pretty close, and you never want to count out Cathedral because they've won quite a few semi-states.
Yeah, and if you guys see Howie out there, tell him good job. He's done a great job on the rankings all year. Real good dude. Just don't run up on him real fast, He's a little jumpy.
Neil, we're not going to be bringing gear to the semi-states. Might bring some to state. I might bring a little bit to state. I don't know. We haven't. That's next week. We got bigger things to do right now. So
we're gonna try to have a booth. There'll be Kitty Harden wings. We're gonna have gear. We'll be doing live shows. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah.
Overall, solid semi-state. I think. What's the over and under on champs? Let's see from the poll. What do they got in the messages in the board here?
Oh,
what's the over under state champs out of the Newcastle semi-state?
Let's see. I'd say there's Thrine, Lavelle, Cressel, Panola,
Russell probably in the mix.
Russell, 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, I'd even throw Shutley in the mix at 106. So there's 5 guys that I would say.
You say the over and under is 4?
I'd say
3.5.
Man, because no one's like, and you got Weaver in there actually at 92. Man.
If we did 4.5, are the guys in the thing taking the over or the under 4.5?
I'd say under. Champs? If it's 3.5, that's where I think 3.5 is where you're.
3.5 is the spot. 3.5.
Because I'm over under. Yeah, because I want to say I like Lavelle's chances. He's lost a real close match there. 90. Yeah, they have two guys out there that can wrestle.
Yeah.
Cressel lost a close one. There's 3.
3.5. So 4 champs. You taking the over or the under? 3.5.
I'm gonna probably say the under, but I don't like that because they get 6. I mean, I can see 6 if they wrestle well. You can't throw out Ryan. Can't throw out Shutley.
Is the Newcastle semi-state the most upset that they have to go to Evansville?
No, Fort Wayne is.
They used to be able to just sleep at home.
Yeah.
There's not going to be any coach's corner, no Kilroys.
Yeah.
Can we get a pop-up Kilroys on the I just want some breadsticks. Can we get a pop-up Kilroys right on
pop-up Kilroys? That'd be awesome.
The Fan Fest.
Yeah, so. Well, we're going to take a quick break here. That way all of our friends in East Chicago can get on. We'll probably be about 10 minutes. I'm going to go to the bathroom and then be right back. So look for us to be back for East Chicago, and we'll see you in a few minutes.
Appreciate you guys.